This is Rock and Roll English. Real people, real English. Here's your host, Martin Johnston.
Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Rock and Roll English, episode number 70. And in today's show I speak to Dan the man about Prince Harry, because he will be tying the knot soon, which means getting married. So we thought we would talk about that. If you are new to the show and you don't know Dan and I's feelings about the royal family, I suggest you go and listen to episode number 38, Do We Need the Queen? And we talk about the royal family there as well. Anyway, I will stop talking now. Here is the show, and I will speak to you again at the end. Dan the man, how are you today?
I'm good, how are you?
I'm very good, thanks Dan. How was your piss up in England?
Yeah, it was very good. Someone was sick in the club, so I consider that a result.
So just in case people didn't listen to the last show, remember a piss up is like a night out with your friends when you drink, and that is what happens. People are sick in clubs, so that sounds like a cultured night.
It wasn't me, but it was a friend who doesn't listen to this show, and he is 33. And he threw up in the club.
You're not trying to say it was me, are you?
No.
I thought you were insinuating it was me, because I definitely didn't see you. So insinuating there is a very nice word, means like suggesting it was me, and it definitely wasn't. But we will see each other in a few weeks, won't we, Dan? Going home for Christmas.
Yeah, are you excited?
Oh, I'm counting down the days on my calendar, Dan. I cannot wait.
Yeah, it should be good.
Yeah, incredible. Anyway, so let's start today's show. But before we start the show, how do we start the show?
With a review.
Again, I'm not going to ask you if you know we have one, because I know you've seen. And it comes from Enjo Lee from South Korea. As always, I apologise if that's not the correct pronunciation, which I highly doubt it is. Anyway, it says, "Hi Martin and Dan the man. I'm from South Korea studying art at London University." Now that is cultured. I very much doubt she goes for piss up and goes to clubs and is sick like you and your friends, Dan.
Well, it wasn't me.
Sure.
And you never know. She may do.
Anyway, it says, "It's been 2 months since I got here, and while I was having a hard time because of English, you guys have greatly helped me. Every morning I listen to you guys talk, start each day laughing, and try to memorize words from the website and use expressions including useful slangs." One thing though, every day she listens to us, Dan.
That's quite a lot, isn't it?
I don't know if she's repeating the podcast. Let us know, okay?
Well, I couldn't listen to you every day. So.
Well, we're both on the podcast, Dan, so she's listening to... I couldn't listen to you either. Anyway, it says, "I'm over the moon when I can understand what people are saying and have a conversation in English. All thanks to both of you." I would generally say that's more thanks to me. I'm the one that organises everything. Anyway, thanks a lot again, and I will see you in the morning. Thank you for that fantastic review.
Yeah, it's very good. Thank you.
Hey, Dan. Yeah, yes, you need
great.
to thank her as well, Dan, okay?
Well, I just have thanked her.
Well, I had to tell you to thank her. Anyway, so on to today's show. What is the show about, Dan?
You know I don't know.
Yeah, but it's just funny to ask you, okay? Make you look a bit stupid. Well, I've got some news for you, Dan, because I know you live in France. You're maybe not up to date with the news in the UK.
I am.
Where are you? Prince Harry is going to tie the knot.
Oh, I couldn't give a fuck.
Before we get to your opinion, what does it mean, tie the knot?
He's going to get married.
Yes, he is going to get married to Meghan Markle. So tell us your opinion again, Dan.
I don't care.
The first time he said it, I couldn't give a fuck, which means the same as I don't care. I will see that, Dan, and I will go one better when I say I couldn't give a flying fuck, okay? But we're going to talk about it because we have nothing else to talk about, okay?
Yeah, okay.
And I've got just some badly organised facts about him, about her, about royal weddings, and, just like that. Can you handle that?
I really, really hate talking about the royal family. And you keep talking about them.
Well, other people are interested, Dan, okay? You and I are not interested, but other people are, okay? Give the people what they want, okay? Anyway, do you know where the term tie the knot comes from? Remember, that means get married.
No.
Well, apparently in some cultures, they literally tie, so like with a piece of string or rope, I don't know, the couple's hands together.
Oh, God.
I mean, I don't know for how long, just for the day or forever.
Well, what cultures?
Well, apparently in Hindu, Egyptian weddings and also Celtic weddings. Although I don't know if this is still the case, but obviously it was in the past. One question. What happens when they go to the toilet?
Good question.
Especially if she's wearing a wedding dress. I mean,
surely she can hold it in on her wedding day, can't she?
Well, I don't know.
That's a sign of things to come. If
when he says there, hold it in, he means like hold in the piss to not go to the toilet. But
oh no, I thought you were talking about shit.
Oh, right, we're talking about good point, Dan. Shits happen on wedding days. Okay, they happen every day. In fact, for today's podcast, Dan was late, and he texted me saying, "Sorry, I will be late because I'm doing a shit." Okay, do your shit before the podcast, Dan.
I obviously didn't think that would make it onto the podcast, but thank you.
You're welcome. Anyway, back to Prince Harry's thing, okay? So, obviously, comparisons are being made between this wedding and William's wedding, but apparently this one will be more low-key. What does it mean, Dan? More low-key?
Not as fancy.
Not as fancy, not as extravagant, because they're getting married in a smaller church, which smaller than
St. Paul's.
Yeah, exactly. Well, William got married in Westminster Abbey, which is, probably the most famous church in England. But Harry, more low-key, Windsor Castle. Okay? So
he's down to earth.
Oh, lovely piece of rock and roll vocabulary there, Dan. If you say someone is down to earth, it means they're like a normal person. Generally used for famous people, actually. Did you know, though, Harry is 5th in line to be, like, king? 5th? Who's before him? William?
Well, you got Prince Charles first.
Yeah.
Then you got William.
Yeah.
Then you got the 2 kids.
Ah, William's kids.
Yeah, of course.
Ah, that's who they are. I was thinking, who the hell are these people in front of him in the line? Did not know that, Dan. But you learn something new every day. What do we say, Dan? Every day's
a school day.
Oh, yeah, baby. And I've got some bad news about the wedding, Dan, and I know you, for one, will be gutted by this. What does it mean, gutted?
To be extremely disappointed.
Yes. Because they are getting married at Windsor Castle, which is about an hour from London, there will be no kiss on the balcony at Buckingham Palace.
No. Oh.
I know, Dan. I feel your pain. Believe me. I just cannot believe it.
Have people been upset in England about this?
Well, I can only imagine. I don't know, Dan.
Oh, you're not in England, are you? Of course not.
Yeah, I live in Italy. You went to England only at the weekend, Dan. Maybe you can tell me.
I can't.
Oh, okay. Thanks for the information. So I've got some more bad news for you, Dan. I'm sorry to do this to you, but we like negative news. Mm-hmm. Also, there will be no procession through London. Okay?
Yeah, great.
But apparently Meghan and Harry have said they want the public to feel part of the day, so they're going to have a substitute day in London. Okay?
Are they fucking serious?
Thank God. Okay? Thank you, Harry and Meghan. I want to be part of your day, and so does Dan. Okay? We will be there with the flags and, just having a great time.
Although, if you were invited, just say, for some reason, he loved the show.
Okay. He probably does. Yeah.
He probably does. Let's assume he does. Mm-hmm. What would you say?
First of all, Dan, I want to stop you with that fantastic second conditional. If you were invited, what would you say? I would say, I don't know who you are. I don't want to come, especially I don't want to buy you a present for your wedding, okay? Because all the other guests are probably going to buy you a present that costs like £10,000. So I don't want to get you a present. Thanks for the invite, Harry.
Okay, hang on.
Stick it up your ass.
Hang on. He said, look, I really want you to be there so you don't have to buy a present.
Yeah, but when people say something like that, they actually mean you have to buy a present. This is what I don't like.
Yeah, but you could rock up wearing a RnR English t-shirt.
Oh, that's a good point. Good publicity. Also, some nice rock and roll vocabulary there when he said you can rock up, which means you can like arrive. You can just go. It's slang way to say arrive, really. Good point, Dan. Maybe I will go. Okay, you've convinced me. But I have some generally bad news now. Okay, about this wedding. This is actually.
Do you mean genuinely?
What did I say?
Generally.
Correct, Dan. This is what I say. Even native speakers make mistakes in English, okay? Thanks for correcting me, Dan, okay? Yeah. It won't be a bank holiday.
That is a disappointment, but then I'm not in England, so...
So a bank holiday is a day off work in England, which there was for William's wedding. It's a bit of a kick in the teeth, really, isn't it? What does it mean, a kick in the teeth?
When someone treats you badly or unfairly. But the thing is...
So just to stop you there, it's a kick in the teeth for Harry, obviously, because it's not really fair that it was a bank holiday for his brother and not for him. Basically, Everyone's saying your brother is more important than you.
No, it's a kick in the teeth for the public because everyone's going to have to be put through this fucking second procession and they're not getting a holiday out of it.
Good point, Dan. Good point. Yeah, well, we don't live in England, Dan, so it's not our problem anymore. Fuck them.
Yeah.
When I said fuck them there, it's a abbreviation of fuck them. The English people is what I'm talking about, okay?
Yeah.
Anyway, so Harry is also the black sheep of the family. What does that mean, Dan?
It means Charles isn't his dad.
That is not a nice thing to say. There's a rumour in England that Charles is not Harry's dad, but that is not a good thing to say, Dan. And it doesn't mean that anyway. The black sheep of the family means like the bad person of the family, because there were some naked pictures of him that came out a few years ago. Did you watch them? Well, did you see them, Dan?
No, I don't search for that sort of thing online.
Oh.
But he was also in the papers for wearing a Nazi uniform at one point, wasn't he?
Yeah, exactly. I thought it's probably best to avoid that, actually, Dan, talking about Nazis on the podcast. But thanks for bringing that up. So remember, thanks for talking about that. Okay? So already, basically, you've said something bad about Princess Diana. And,
I said something about bad about
you
Diana.
Said that Charles isn't Harry's dad.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, and now you're talking about Nazis. Okay, we're going to be banned from the internet, Dan. Okay.
Is this going to be on that little description you put before?
Well,
each
yeah,
podcast?
I don't know if I will. So in today's podcast, we talk about Nazis and we talk
adultery.
Adultery. There is a very nice word. Well, not a nice word, but it's a formal way to say when a woman has an affair with another man.
Or a man, stop being sexist.
Okay, or a man with a woman, you know. It all happens. Anyway, let's look at some facts about her. I can't even remember her name now. Meghan Markle, is that it?
Markle, yeah.
Okay, so she's obviously an actress in Suits. Have you ever seen Suits, Dan?
No, I didn't know she was an actress.
Yeah, she's in Suits. I watched one episode of that and thought it was shit. But anyway, that's another story for another day. Got some facts about her. Apparently she loves dogs. Okay, so if I thought I'm already not interested and I don't like her, now I definitely don't like her. Okay,
well, that's a stupid fact, though, isn't it? I reckon about 80% of the whole human population love dogs. I mean, that's like saying I like breathing air.
That's a good point. That's a good point, Dan. Okay, well, this is what I found on the article. Okay. Okay, so another one is that she has a communications degree. Okay, so she attended Northwestern University, which is familiar to me because basically every time I find a ridiculous study on the internet that we talk about on this podcast, it's always Northwestern University. So, you know, maybe she was behind that.
And let me tell you something. I did communication studies for A-level in England, and we did fuck all. I highly doubt it's a degree.
Remember, fuck all means nothing. Dan did that because he dropped out of school. Like, he quit school is because it was too difficult for him. Okay, and then he left for the last year and did a communication studies.
Actually, that's not true. I actually quit school because I was planning to move to Italy, and then I went to Italy for 4 weeks, decided not to, and then I came back. So I quit school, I quit moving to Italy, and then I did communication studies.
So I think what you're trying to tell us, Dan, is you are a quitter. Okay, sure, never mind. Anyway, so nothing really particularly interesting about her. Although one fact says that she is related to Shakespeare. I'm not sure where that comes from. Probably Northwestern University.
Yeah.
And reading the comments of this was quite funny. There was on comments of the article, obviously, there was someone called Luby Lou, which, I mean, the name tells you everything, and says, "I'm so happy for Harry. He deserves this." Do you know Harry? Do you know? Are you friends with him? Or if Harry's got friends called Luby Lou, then, you know,
No wonder it's low-key.
Yeah, exactly. No wonder he's fifth in line. So when we say there, no wonder, we mean like it's not a surprise. So I've got some other facts here about royal weddings, okay? Because there haven't been that many, but some just general ones, okay? So there's a guy called John Luffrey, and I don't even think my pronunciation for his name is correct, okay? So, you know, this is just a general thing that I do. And who describes himself as a super fan of the royal family.
What does that mean?
Well, exactly, yeah. Is that a real title? Can you describe, like, you say, like, oh, what do you do? I'm an English teacher. You? I'm a super fan of the royal family.
It just means they've got a load of shit mugs in their house.
Yeah, probably. He's probably a mug. Whoa. So when I say, like, he's a mug, that is a sort of slang way to say basically idiot in England, which is strange because we also drink coffee or tea from mugs. Anyway, apparently he was the first person to camp outside on the pavement outside Westminster Abbey for Diana and Charles' wedding.
How long before?
I don't know, but apparently he started the trend. So, you know, he must be gutted about that no balcony kiss.
Oh, yeah, he must be devastated.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Have you ever camped outside for anything, Dan?
No. Have you?
I camped in my back garden once. That was mental.
Yeah. You're a wild man, that's why.
Oh, yeah, Dan. That's me. Anyway, there's apparently...
actually, that's not true. That's not true. I have waited outside for something when a computer game was coming out and it got released at midnight. And I went to the supermarket and there was about 100 men in there by the tills waiting for midnight to strike.
I think I remember that. I think I remember you calling me about Pro Evolution Soccer, if I remember.
Correct.
Oh, yeah. Maybe one day we can do a podcast about that. Some of the times we enjoyed playing that game. Mm-hmm. Anyway, apparently there's a hotel in Derby called the Alexander, which sounds very good to me because apparently if anyone says the word royal or wedding, they have to leave the pub.
Really?
Yeah. Sounds like a good pub, Dan.
What's the pub called?
The Alexandra.
Maybe we can put a link in the show notes or something to promote it.
Yeah, exactly. And then they can promote our podcast. You know, it's I scratch your back, you scratch mine. Okay, that's a nice saying as well. I'll do something for you, you do something for me.
So talking about weddings, when's your wedding? That's what everyone's asking.
Oh, hilarious, Dan.
When's the RnR English royal wedding?
Oh, that would be a wedding, wouldn't it? Yeah. A RnR English wedding. You're first, Dan. You've been with your girlfriend for a while now. I said that you have been with your girlfriend for a while. It started in the past. It's still in progress. Present perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, quite a while now, Dan.
I brought it up first, so let's focus on you.
Well, you've been in the relationship longer, so let's focus on you.
No, let's focus on you. You're the one who thinks you can make women go weak at the knees, so...
When have I ever said that? Anyway, if you make women go weak at the knees, it's a ridiculous way to say that they really like you. They like you so much that they cannot stand up. I have never made any woman go weak at the knees in all of my life. I don't know why you're laughing. It's not like I saw women going weak at the knees looking at you with your shit haircut.
They just walk the other way, so...
Yeah, exactly. They're very strong at the knees, women, when they're near me. Anyway, on that note, I think it's a good time to stop the podcast, Dan.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, we'll talk about your wedding more in the next one, okay?
Yeah, all right. See you later.
See you later. Okay, so that was Dan the Man and me speaking about Prince Harry and his wedding. So let's look at some of that rock and roll vocabulary. At the beginning, I asked Dan about his piss up in England, which, remember, is like a night out with your friends where you drink a lot. We had tie the knot, which Harry is doing, which is obviously getting married. When I spoke to Dan about the wedding, he said he couldn't give a fuck, which is, remember, means he's not interested. And I said I couldn't give a flying fuck, which means I'm really not interested. Some nice sayings there. Obviously not a formal thing to say, but quite useful. We had hold it in when Dan was talking about people holding it in on their wedding day, which when you hold something in, it's generally piss or poo. Yeah, just to say you don't do it on yourself, because that's not good. We had low key when we're talking about the wedding being low key, like a low profile, like nothing big and fancy, just a wedding in Windsor Castle. So that's a normal wedding. We had down to earth, which is a very nice term actually, which we use for basically famous people that don't feel like they are better than anyone, and they are like normal people. They are down to earth. And remember, Harry is down to earth because he's getting married at Windsor Castle, just like any other normal person. And we had the word gutted, which, remember, means really disappointed. I said Dan will be gutted to hear there will be no kiss on the balcony. We had the term rock up when Dan said I could rock up at the wedding in a rock and roll English t-shirt. So if someone rocks up, they often, it's just arrive, often without sort of being invited, like people rock up at your house when you don't expect it. Again, not very formal, but quite funny and quite useful. We had the term a kick in the teeth when we were talking about the fact it's not a bank holiday for Harry, but it was for William. So remember, this term is like, when something is unfair, basically. You can say it was a bit of a kick in the teeth. We had black sheep of the family. Remember, Harry is the black sheep of the family because there were some naked pictures of him and he was a bit wild. And if you are the black sheep of the family, that means you're, let's say, the bad one in the family. We had the phrasal verb bring something up, which is probably our favourite phrasal verb. Dan brought up Nazis, which was good. And remember, bring something up is when you start talking about something. And he also brought up adultery. So adultery is when there's a married couple and then one of the people married in the couple goes with another man or woman. And that's like the formal way to say it. Obviously not a nice thing though, but that's what we say. Dan was telling us about his communication studies at college and said he did fuck all. And if you do fuck all, it means nothing. And then I said how Dan dropped out of school. So if you drop out of school, you basically stop going to school. And you can drop out of courses, for example. Like if you do an English course with me, maybe you think, oh, this is shit. And then you drop out. Some people have, good luck to them. We had no wonder, which was good when we said no wonder he's fifth in line to be king, which means it's no surprise. And we had the term mug. Remember, mug is something you drink out of, but it's also like an offensive term. Not the most offensive term in the world, but it's still not very nice to say. If you say you mug, it's like you idiot. Had the nice term, you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. So basically, if someone does something for you, you do something for them. And the last one was when Dan said, I make women go weak at the knees, which is a quite funny term, actually. That means, women love you so much they can't stand up without having problems, which is obviously absolute rubbish. But that's Dan. He often speaks rubbish. Anyway, all of the rock and roll vocabulary is on the website, rockandrollenglish.com. Go there, have fun, do the quiz, and just keep on rocking, baby.
Thanks so much for listening to Rock and Roll English. For more great content and to stay up to date, visit rockandrollenglish.com and facebook.com/rockandrollenglish. We'll catch you next time.